we would call the Rules Committee meeting to order. This time I'm asking.
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. Thank you for this meeting, and thank you for all the participants and all our visitors that got here today. And Lord, we ask for blessings on our Cherokee tribe, our chief, our vice chief, and all the executives and all our programs. Lord, they got a big year coming up in front of them, and we just ask your blessings, Lord, and even bless our federal government, Lord, and he needs it, and we need it, and Lord, just be with us as we go through this day, and we thank you, Lord, for everything you do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Councilor Snell. Roll call, Shelley.
Yes, sir. Joe Byrd.
Ani.
Brenda Hargis. Present. Bill England.
Honey.
Keith Austin.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Tyler Duggar.
Here.
Tom Crittenden.
Honey.
Don Garvin. Wanda Hatfield. Rex Jordan.
Here.
Dick Way.
Here.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Janice Taylor. Here. David Thornton.
Honey.
Victoria Vesquez. David Walkenstick. Brian Warner.
Honey.
We do have a forum.
Okay. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to be approved.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. Drop down to reports. Marshall Buell.
Good afternoon. What we have not been able to put in the report that I think that you need to know as a council is I've met with most of the new sheriffs in our areas, at least on the south end. I'm going up next week to meet with the sheriffs in the north end. The meetings went well with Muskogee County Sheriff, Adair County Sheriff, and Sequoia County Sheriff. All three sheriffs are very motivated with our partnership agreement to work in their areas. Also, what's not in the report is Sunday morning about 3 a.m. The Craig County Sheriff called me, and they had an armed barricaded gunman that did a home invasion robbery in Ketchum, and then ran back to his house after firing some rounds and barricaded himself in the house with his leg monitor on that he just got from getting out of prison. And they were concerned that they were going to have to kill this man. The man happens to be a Cherokee member, but quite frankly, that's not why we went. We went because we were asked, and we went because I knew that my team could probably, if we could get this person out of the house safely without him being injured, or any of the citizens or neighbors being injured, or any police officer being injured, then it is our job to get up there and do that. So my team arrived there about 5 a.m., and they worked till around 11:30 and negotiated his surrender. That's what we can stop. Don't get panicked and do the right job, not just for us, but for the suspect that we're dealing with and the community that we're involved with. So I'm very proud of my officers for being able to do that Sunday morning. And it gave me a chance to go through and eat at the Bobber in Langley, which is really a good restaurant when you haven't eaten all day. Okay, they have really good meatloaf there. Also, yeah, it's good stuff. Also, we have 4 officers right now up in Turtle Mountain Reservation. It's about 35 miles south of Canada. They had an officer killed, Deputy Colt Allery. He was 29 years old. He was killed in a shootout, and one of his partners was injured from gunfire. He was a deputy in the county that Turtle Mountain Reservation is in, but he'd only been a deputy there for 3 months. Prior to that, he was a Turtle Mountain tribal police officer. So it's kind of rocked that community. The BIA district office called and see if we could help them, and so we sent 4 of our marshals up last Saturday. And they had to be 4 marshals that are on our SWAT team, so we were 4 people short Sunday morning. We had the call out. But they'll be up there until this Saturday. The BIA is going to reimburse us for our travel, our overtime, and then we're paying for their straight time that they're up there. But I've had 2 or 3 emails and correspondence with the the Turtle Mountain Tribal Council, and they're very excited about us being up there. They're very thankful that we could go up there and assist them. So that's a couple of things that I thought that you needed to know before next month, but it wasn't on the rules because it's happening as we speak. So, is there any questions about the rules as I've presented?
Any questions for Marshall? Yes, Councilor Buzzard?
Shannon, tell us how that works. These are Cherokee marshals. Did they go up there because of the marshal status or because of the BIA requested?
Because of the BIA status. We
Okay.
have our special SLEC with the BIA.
Okay.
So they're able to go on different deployments if asked, and the BIA reimburses us for the travel costs and
Okay.
all that. So
So
they're,
it wasn't because they're marshals?
no, it's, well,
Because of the BIA?
it's because of that
had
BIA cross, yes. We've had a long history, ever since I've been a marshal here, of supporting the BIA. We've gone, as you well know, half of our SWAT team went to Katrina. We were there for almost a month. We've been to Joplin. We go to Standing Rock quite a bit, maybe once or twice every 2 or 3 years. They'll request us up to Standing Rock. So it's a thing that we do if we can do it. We have to look at our manning, where we're at.
Okay.
And a situation like this was, in my belief, was such dire for that small tribal entity up there that we allowed 4 to go. But we, like I said, it's only up until Saturday. They head back Saturday morning about 8 o'clock.
Okay, because I had some questions about that, you know. Of course, I know you're going to talk about Claremore, and the Army people were up there because they were marshals. Not so
Yes.
much because they were Cherokee Nation police officers,
Right.
because they were marshals. but-
Yeah, not at all.
Okay.
And if you'd like, I can speak to that.
Anybody else? I'd like to ask you something. A few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago, when we had the high winds come through here, about 70 miles an hour.
Yes.
I'm former educator and used to the school systems on announcements and alerting people in case of emergency or so forth. And I was thinking, why we don't have a intercom here in this system here. The other way of communicating, the cell phones,
Right.
not the most efficient way, because as I left the restaurant and came over here with the deputy, there wasn't not that much organization here about where people and who could use that intercom.
Right.
I think we could alert our people on in case of an emergency.
I will definitely look at that. I think that is very important that we get it to the people when they need it. You know, some of the people that were here after we looked into it thought there was tornadoes, and we could have calmed a lot of concerns if we could have got mass communication out
Yes.
rapidly. So I will definitely address it.
Appreciate that. We'll do some type of a cost to that, see what we can
We
come
will
up
do
with.
that.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Thank you very much, Marshall. Next, we have Office of the Attorney General, Mr. Todd Hembry. I'm glad you made it back safely, Mr. Hembry.
We began a whole new day in America. I had the pleasure of attending the inauguration of President Trump. We were up there ready to engage with federal officials and members of Congress and the Senate. Now more than ever, it's so important that we engage with the people in Washington, D.C., because it will be there will be action. We often we've been through a period of time where things have been proposed by the president, and that either the House or Senate has blocked it. Well, things will be happening now because the president, the Senate, and the House are all basically on the same page. So we have to be up there and make sure that we keep what Indian country has, at the very least, because there is a great may be receding through the new budgetary process and policy processes. But we, the AG's office, will stand vigilant to do what we can. Ms. Teehee with Government Relations is extremely engaged in this matter, as is our Secretary of Natural Resources, Ms. Hill. It was a pleasure to be there, an honor to be there, but we got business to attend to up there also. I have read our agenda today. It is extremely lengthy with substantive topics. So literally probably everything I would talk about will be later on in the agenda. So with that being said, and to be judicious with your time, I would just avail myself to any questions or topics that the committee may have.
Any questions for Attorney General? Good report.
Thank you.
Next, we have with us Gwen Terrapin.
Chairman,
Yes, sir. Councilor Lay?
I had a question.
Oh, sorry about that.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
I've sent you some materials recently about Claremore,
Yes.
and I don't want to rehash all of what may or may not have happened or could be done. But I'd like to get with you and the secretary and admin and at some point and get a plan.
And we would welcome that. There are, we distributed some material that we got today to the council, to the committee to answer some of those questions. It may require a legislative fix on the federal level. Again, another reason why we will need to be engaged in D.C. But I would just email my office. We will schedule a time, and I would welcome an opportunity to sit down with you.
I received your email, and I've read this and almost everything in the email and this, not everything. Seems to be a pushback from either Claremore Hospital or the Oklahoma Area Agency. They all say, no, that's not the way it is. So you say one thing, and I understand.
Yeah.
It's federal government. We've got, there are competing issues there. But we just need a plan.
Yeah, welcome to sit down with you at your convenience, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Gwen.
Good afternoon. For 2017 so far, we've not had any requests to date. For 2016, we had a total of 17, with 15 of those as FOIAs and 2 GRAs. And due to unforeseen circumstances, I wasn't able to update the website and send out a report, but I will get that out to you. And I want to thank everyone for your prayers and for your support.
Any questions? Thank you. We have Election Commission, Brooke Tilson, is she here?
Hello, Brooke is not here, so I'll fill in. There's just a few things on the report we want to point out. The candidate packets are still available at our office. They can be mailed or someone can pick them up. We are accepting the absentee ballot request forms, so if anyone needs those, they can come by the office or call us and we'll send them out to whoever needs them. And we're starting the filing week February 6th, and it will end February 9th. So that's the first Monday through Thursday of February. Does anyone have any questions about anything?
Any questions for election? Councilor Watkins there.
I'm not sure if this law applies with the tribal council or what, but so our community meetings are frozen. We can't have any more community meetings until the election. Is that for just people that's running, or is that for all of us?
I'm really not 100% sure on that. I'll have to get with Brooke and get back with you.
Would you know the answer to that?
That is a rule that was adopted by the tribal council. So it's not a law or that.
Policy.
It's a policy. It is absolutely a policy, and the council as a whole has made that. And I'm shooting from the hip here, so I believe the intent was to freeze all community meetings during the year of the elections. So this is 2017. That until the elections are over, that community meetings would be suspended. During that time, I was a council attorney when that rule was developed. The idea was that to give.
You're doing great. I was just going to add that I remember it being specifically the expenditure of the council's funds for community meetings on that. So that was the limit of that. Of course, councilors are always free to get together with their communities, but it was just the expenditures of those funds.
Yes,
Somewhere there was a policy.
that's correct. Yes, Counselor England.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And on that, Chuck, you may stay up. The way I read it, and I read the act, or the policy that we adopted years ago, and it just said that if you was in an election, that person, or that district, it didn't include everybody just because a few are in it, that it stopped everybody.
Well, it's been a while since I read it, so I will defer to you.
Our council lady, she gave it to me, and that's.
And, that's, okay, well,
So in the off-year elections, there may be districts where
Yes.
for
this is
instance, since
completely
you-
in the purview of the council.
Yeah,
by the way.
exactly. You guys set your own policy on this. This is not an election commission issue or an attorney general's issue. It is strictly a council rule, policy. Okay?
So, Councilman Baker, he's still having at-large meetings. And so is that the council's discretion to stop Councilman Baker from having at-large meetings, or? I need clarification here, I guess.
Actually gets the clarification, excuse me, may I?
Go right ahead.
The clarification there is that those are actually the chief's meetings with the large groups.
So that doesn't apply.
And we attend those meetings, yes.
And the policy was to not expend council funds
That's it.
on community meetings. And the reasoning behind that policy is, and I remember, specifically, was so that people couldn't campaign on the Cherokee Nation's dime. But again, it's your policy. It is the council's policy, just like your rules and procedures. There's a process to change it. I see this right here that looks like there's a proposed change, but I would recuse myself from. I'm not speaking as an attorney general. I'm just speaking with someone with historical knowledge that was at one time the council attorney. That's what I remember. So it's your call.
Does that clarify your question?
Yeah, I guess it'd be good if during election time, Chief would come to our counties and do some community meetings, I guess.
I bet you he'll do it.
All right, I thought it was unfair that Jack and them got to have meetings and we didn't, so that explains it.
Yeah, you police yourself on this.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Chair.
Yes, Counselor Crittenden.
If we wanted to have our community meetings, what would it take? Just make a motion to change this, whatever's on that paper there?
You can still have meetings but you just can't use Cherokee expenditures. You can have meetings as a council member.
What if I'd like to use, just have them like we always have them? Would that take a vote of this body?
It would.
It's our policy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's our policy.
Right. And, if I thought that was hard and fast, actually what happens is nobody in any form, shape, or anything campaigns at any of the meetings. I may not feel this way, but right now I feel that we should be able to have our community meetings just like we always do. And
With the expenditures?
right, I really do. There's other meetings that are taking place where there's questions. If some are campaigning in one way or the other or not. There are questions. So if that's allowed to take place, those questions arise, I would feel confident having my meetings in Adair County and doing the same thing. And I would hope people would give me that benefit of the doubt, if you will. But that was my question. If we decided to, we could come up with a vote and change it.
Yeah, if everyone's got a copy of the, you need to know what you're voting on.
Well,
Well, first, before we get through there, let's go. Counselor Lay, you're up.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think he was bird dogging his way through to my question probably, but
I'll see if I was.
excuse me. I think according to what you got in front of you, Todd, and I haven't seen it in a while, but correct me if I'm wrong because I haven't read it in a while. But I think since I'm not running for office, or my district is not running for office, and I'm terming out, it seems to me that I should be able to expend council funds under that policy. I could be wrong. We may have changed it since then. I don't know. And if we have, if you see it there, go ahead and tell me that I'm.
I want to refrain from making any type of
Fair enough. And say that my last two community meetings, nobody's from admin even put them on the website. Nobody knew that I was having a community meeting except when I announced it or sent mail out. I don't use I do my own mailing, that way I know it goes out on time. But what I'm seeing here, and I think some other folks are seeing, is that with all intents and appearances, they're wonderful and I'm glad they're doing them. How about all of us getting the same respect? And I'm more looking over towards the admin side of the field than the general side of the field. My field of vision is, I'm trying to split two eyes here. And so what you've got here, all intents and purposes, what I'm seeing is campaign meetings. And just let me go right ahead and say that. And they're being paid for by the admin's budget, not the counselor's budget. And I never had so many people show up at my meetings that are showing up now in various places. And somebody's got to be paying salaries. Somebody's got to be paying for something. And all that always came out of our counselor funds that we voted on. And I was proud to do it, and admin knows that I'm one of the biggest community meeting guys probably sitting at this table. When I had the 4 counties, I put probably 2 or 3 of them on a month sometimes. And still I put a lot of them on and people enjoy them. Y'all, some of you have been there. And so we've had a good time with it. And so fairness issue kind of kicks in here. And I think that's what I'm hearing, and I know I'm sitting back to look at it, and I'm terming out, so it's not that big a deal to me, but I'm seeing some fairness issues here. If you want to put on a grandiose community meeting and in some location, that's wonderful. I'm all for it. But how about mine or Sean's or, David's or anybody? I don't care whose it is. And those are my thoughts. And I don't think that I'm held down to, since my district is not voting, I don't think I'm held down to what we're being held to right now on our policies. But I'm going to abide by the spirit of that rule, of that policy, and not have them until we change something.
I agree.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Counselor England.
Thanks. With this handout here, Todd, I won't call you a general.
Could you just tell me, just don't call me late for dinner?
In this 4, the red writing in here is something that's been changed. that I didn't know was it. This is not the one I had. And that's the reason why I spoke a while ago about, if you read where it's all struck out, that's very clear, that if we're not having an election in our district, that we can expend those funds.
And again, I'm going to refrain from
Right,
any
and I
comment
know
on
that, I just want to bring that up, because this has been handed out, first time I've seen this, so.
I will say this. This is not on the agenda. It's an election here. So if it's something you want to discuss or vote on, then we need to amend the agenda.
Well, and I think it's good discussion anyway that we're.
Sure, it is.
Because it's the right time.
Yeah.
Because you take up in our area, up in the northern area where Dick and I's at, and Keith, there's no elections at all going on up in there. None. But yet we can't hold our community meetings.
I understand.
So we're being punished because of all the elections down this way. And so, I don't know where the red lines come in at, but I would like to amend the agenda that we strike the red lines and go back to the original, because I think it's cut and dry there. I mean, so.
What's the clarification on the strike through? What?
To keep it as it is, would that be right?
Keep it as it is? Yes.
Keep it as it is.
Have you looked at this, Diane? But you still need to amend the agenda if we're going to get into this discussion here.
Well, I'd like to amend the agenda if that's possible.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to amend the agenda.
Or discussion or possible action?
So let's discuss it more so more people can have input on it.
Okay? We're amending the agenda. That's the motion and the second. Okay, you got a motion and a second to amend the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay? Now, are we done, Election Commission? Anybody got any questions?
I don't think she want no part of that.
Okay, now do we need to move forward with this?
I think if you want to, we can come more discussion on it. If anybody else has a say-so.
May I, are we finished with all of our reports?
No, we're not.
May I suggest we finish with the reports and then add this to our agenda items?
That would be good.
Okay, I'd accept that.
Okay. We'll come back and bring it under new business. Yeah, bring it back under number 11, new business. Okay, let's go ahead and get these reports out of the way. Self-governance, Karen Ketcher. Wait a minute, Tax Commission, Sharon Webster.
Good afternoon. I believe you have my report, and I would try to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, any tax questions, anybody?
When's the card tag distribution?
Ask her.
When's the card tag for public schools, public school appreciation?
Education is actually the one that sets up those dates and everything, but
okay.
it's normally either in February or March, but
So, I guess, did you already finish up the year, so was there an increase?
yes, there was an increase. We have to wait for the audited numbers. That's why it usually doesn't happen till February or March, as we let the auditors education then sets up.
A large increase or just?
It should be, I don't think I broke out the at-large in here that you had with the past years to see, but there was a significant increase in total.
I'd be interested to see that.
Sure. So you want to see what the at-large increase was from last year, and then the,
Just the overall.
okay, just an overall? I can get you that.
Okay, thank you.
And I think that date's already been set.
March
for the-
24th, Gail sent that out to
Yeah,
us.
Okay.
it's in your
Thank you.
email. Yes, Councilor Baker.
Yes, and I'd like to see the at-large, both
I can break that out for you.
including the extended jurisdiction plus the at-large.
Okay.
Anybody else? Yes, Councilor England.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Sharon, are you still with the hunting and fishing? Do you have anything to do with it at all?
No, sir, other than just forwarding stuff to Mr. Glory. But if there's something I can help you with, please let me know.
Okay, yeah.
And, yeah, just call me or send me an email on this process.
I don't need one. Somebody got one.
Good report.
Okay, thank you.
Now, self-governance?
Speaker, Ms. Ketcher's attending self-governance advisory and ABC right now.
Tell her she'll be first on the agenda then. Gaming Commission, Jamie Hummingbird.
Well, some good news I do have for you today. In fact, I brought copies of some good news for everybody. The Oklahoma Indian Gaming Association on Tuesday released its economic impact statement for 2016, showing the total economic impact that tribal gaming has on the state of Oklahoma. And just to kind of give you a brief summary of this, we're looking at hundreds of millions of dollars being contributed to the state directly and indirectly. Directly through our compact fee payments and indirectly through taxes, business, and other tangent activities as a result of tribal gaming. We're looking at nearly 48,000 jobs directly from gaming and about 3,000 or 4,000 more indirectly through construction projects and the like. So the outlook on tribal gaming in Oklahoma is very good. The numbers that are contained within this booklet are summary numbers. Full report, if you would like to have it, that breaks down the statistics a little bit more in depth and in a little respect to urban versus rural casinos. I can get that to you if you'd like it. But this report, I brought one for everybody, I think showcases a very good picture for tribal gaming in Oklahoma. And some uncertain news, I'm not sure exactly what to make of these. We have a couple of bills that were introduced last week in the state Senate. I don't necessarily think at first blush that they are anything that would be having a negative impact on the tribe immediately. One of the bills, I believe it is, just one second. Excuse me. Oh, yes, please. Senate Bill 219, offered by Senator Dom, which would amend the compact to say that there would be required a 2/3 Senate approval required for any compact between tribes and the state of Oklahoma. Previously, the compact would have to have been approved and agreed to by the Joint Committee on State and Tribal Relations. That part was being proposed to be stricken and replaced with 2/3 approval of the Senate. The second, which puts down percentage allocations of the monthly exclusivity payments that we make, the compact fee payments that we make, that would put percentages to education budgets within the state. Right now it's being proposed that 12% would go to higher education and 88% would go to the Education Reform Revolving Fund, minus the upfront carve-out of $20,833 to go towards substance and mental health programs, particularly those treating compulsive gambling. Those two bills were introduced last Thursday, I do believe, on the 19th. So far, they've just been introduced. I don't believe there's been any activity on them. I just became aware of these just a day or so ago, so I'm going to try to find out a little bit more about these two. If there are any other concerns that would impact the nation, I'll bring them to you. Thank you. With that, I'll answer any questions.
Any questions? Councilor Walkenstein.
You may know the answer to this, but you may not. But can a federally chartered tribe game?
Right. Yes. Any tribe that is federally recognized by the United States.
I didn't say federally chartered.
Chartered? That answer I don't know off the top of my head. I can take a look and see what I can find out on that.
Yeah, you would.
Okay.
I'd be interested to know that. That's interesting too. This book. So all the tribes in Oklahoma contributed $2.2 billion to the state of Oklahoma last year.
The numbers are impressive.
That's unbelievable.
I mean, just seeing what we do, and the numbers are growing every year. Employment numbers are growing, employment tax numbers are growing. Diversified business, if you will, or tangent business out there is growing.
So what are you hearing with the compact coming up? Is there any talk going around with, or is it too early?
No, it's not too early. In fact, there speculation about compact negotiations and what the future holds for our compact have been going around for quite some time, and there's probably, if there's 10 people in the room, there's 20 different opinions on what's going to happen. So right now, I would say it is too early to say exactly what direction we're going, but I believe it is something that is on everyone's mind.
And with, I guess, with the new president, some people said that he may be attacking IGRA.
We are definitely watching out for that. That's one of the concerns that tribes have had for a while with respect to a change in the administration because of the history that we have seen in terms of comments and remarks made about tribes and tribal gaming. So we are definitely going to keep a close ear and eye out on what's going on in D.C.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Chair.
Yes. Anybody else? Councilor Buzzer?
Jamie, as you probably are well aware of, that the state of Kansas, I think, has 4, maybe 5 tribal entities up there that does gaming. But just in the last 2 years, the state of Kansas has built, I think, 4 gambling casinos that the state owns. Have you or anybody looked at what kind of a breakdown they get from those casinos? What goes to the state of Kansas?
I have not, but I...
Can you check, or can you kind of see what's going on up there? Because I have a feeling, that out of some of these Senate bills, that's maybe where that's working out to be. So it may pay us to get ahead of the game and see what they're doing with those casinos in the state of Kansas.
I can take a look into it, let you know what I find
You
out.
can take a look. I don't know how much information you can get, but
Okay.
you might see what you can get from it.
Okay, will do.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Anybody else? Yes, Councilor Taylor?
Jamie, do you have copies of these bills, or are they available somewhere that if we wanted to read it?
I have copies on my computer in my office. I can forward them to you.
Okay, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
I'll make sure everyone gets a copy of it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilor Thornton?
Shelley over here. Could you go through this little book and fill out a little spreadsheet and put each one of these payouts on a spreadsheet and who they're to? It's good reference to look at, and you don't have to fool with this book.
I think it's a nice little book.
In fact, I could give it to somebody else.
We'll get Jody to do that.
We don't need this book.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Good report, Jamie.
Thank you very much.
Natural Human Resources, we have Mr. Nathan Morton.
Good afternoon. I'll update that one because I noticed it doesn't cover an entire month. So I will look through that, and for just to make sure you can compare month by month, I'll make sure it begins in a month and ends in a month. Anyone have any questions?
Councilor Wongstick.
Exit interviews with the health, do you have anything to do with that?
We work in conjunction with there's one HR department, but we work with the departments on hiring, transitions. So I will speak with them. We have at least a monthly meeting with health services, so I will discuss that with them.
Is there some way without reviews on some of these doctors that's leaving us? I think it'd be a good measuring tool for us to help us get better at what we're doing with our administration.
I'll find out.
Blake?
Thank you, sir. Go visit the outer clinic with our employees.
Periodically, I will go to a administration. There are a couple that I need to go see. I did one tour, but I need to follow up with it. And there's a couple that I missed last time, so yes, I need to go say.
But not in a total setting with all the employees.
No, sir.
Would you consider doing that?
We do a lot of training. Some of my employees go up there. But what type of meeting did you have in mind?
Just a simple sit-down meeting. I'm Human Resources from Tahlequah, and we're here to meet our employees?
Far as, it would not be a bad idea to do for information to make sure that they know where their resources are and to follow up, because it's always nice to make sure that the employees know about some of the benefits we have, some of the other things. So, yes, we'll look into a schedule and see if we can go. Now, if they're talking about specific concerns that they have within their department, I always feel it's best that they deal with their supervisor and chain of command first to try to resolve it, but we're always a resource that they can contact. I hope that answered you. That was a little...
It's a lawyer's answer. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Real
Councilor
quick.
Critton.
Next, we had an employee that we emailed back and forth on here a while back, and he was having a hard time getting his supervisor to sign off, particular things. And it's my understanding that you guys have been kind of looking at that to try to make that a smoother process. Is that right?
Yes.
So that's what I wanted to know.
And every time we encounter something like that, we step back and see, is there anything we can change? Is there anything we can do, either from a education point of view at the beginning or something we can actually change through the procedure? And yes.
Thank you. He was having a heck of a time, but if you're on it, I sure appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Sir.
Down to old business, none. Down to resolutions. Councilor Walkenstick, you're up.
We met 2 weeks ago, and we're still working on some things, some numbers, and we're still trying to collect some information. So,
table.
If everyone's okay, I'd like to table it for another month.
Okay. Motion to table.
Second.
All in favor, signify say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, got it tabled. Next, Councilor Hargis, you want to take that one?
Sure. This is a resolution confirming the nomination of Michael Doublehead as a commissioner of the Cherokee Nation Tax Commission. I put that in form of a motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion?
Mr. Doublehead.
Is Mr. Doublehead here?
I am, Mr. Bird.
I'd like to be added as sponsor.
Okay. This is a fine gentleman who
Get that?
represents the tribe well in many capacities.
Sure does. All right.
If I could speak for just a moment, first of all, I want to thank all of you. There's some familiar faces from years past. If you don't recognize me, I realize I've gotten older and fatter. A little more gray hair. I served under Chief Bird's administration on the Cherokee Nation Industries Board in the mid to late 90s. I also served under Chief Smith on the Cherokee Nation Industries Board in 2002. It's always been an honor to serve the Cherokee people in any way that I can. And as a Cherokee member, I want to say thank you. Some of you that I've seen in the past, your long-term commitment to improving the quality of life of Cherokee citizens is to be commended, and I appreciate you and your time for your service. And with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Good. Any questions? Councilor Critton.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, good to see you up here, Mr. Doublehead. You've known me all my life, and always had a lot of respect for you. And I know any aspect you're going to do your darndest to, first and foremost, serve those Cherokee folks. So I'd like to be added as a sponsor. Thank you.
Yes. Anybody else?
Thank you, Mr. Critton.
Councilor Hatfield?
Yeah, this is sponsor.
Sponsor? Councilor Walkenstick, sponsor. Everybody who, I think everybody wants to be added as sponsor.
Who doesn't?
Anybody doesn't, raise your hand. Put them on the spot here. Usually get unanimous that way. All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Mr.
Thank you. I
Doublehead.
look forward to it.
I know you'll do a good job.
Thank you.
Sir.
Okay, next we have resolution. Councilor Jordan, would you take that?
Yes, this is a resolution confirming the renomination of Steve Wilson as a commissioner of the Cherokee Nation Tax Commission. I put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. We got Mr. Wilson, would you please come up? He's also served the tribe well in the past years, and we appreciate his commitment to us.
Thank you.
Questions?
I'm glad to have a full board membership. We lost Mr. Hummingbird this last year. Was a great chairman of the board, good leader. Another one resigned, and I was the only Indian left standing there for a while, you know. But we've got a great leader with Sharon Swepson also, you know. We couldn't get along without her. And our taxes have improved through the at-large tags. Our tobacco taxes have fell off a little bit because of everybody trying to get people to stop smoking and chewing, and so they have fell off a little bit from normal. But anyway, I've been on the board about 6 years now. I've learned a lot. Got a good education over there, and I'm proud to serve on the board. I'd like to serve on it again. Thank you.
We appreciate your time. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Congratulations. I know you'll do a good job, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Councilor Vasquez, would you take that, please?
Sure. This is a resolution confirming the nomination of Cecily Thomason as an editorial board member of the Cherokee Nation Phoenix. Hello, Cecily.
Hello, thank you.
I'll put this in form of motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion, questions? Anything you want to say?
I just want to thank the council members for this opportunity to serve my tribe. I'm from Mosley Prairie, went to school at Little Kansas and Concord, finished my degree at RSU, so I am definitely a product of Cherokee Nation through and through. And anything I can do to give back to this tribe, I'm going to treat with the utmost respect and give it the honor that it deserves.
Good. Where is Concord?
It's right up the road. If you go up Highway 10.
No, you're good. Any more questions? All right, I think we have a good one here. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, Councilor Austin, would you please take that?
Yes, this is a resolution expressly agreeing to choice of law and venue and authorizing a waiver of sovereign immunity of the Cherokee Nation in connection with the software agreement with the Municipal Accounting Systems, Inc. I put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Yes, Councilor Lay.
What are we waiving and why?
The contract is included. It's actually a really small contract. I think it's a total of $3,500. This is the system that the immersion school uses to upload their financial accounting to the state system as required under state law. And the company was not willing to change the contract. There were a couple of things in here that could be construed as waivers of sovereign immunity. We had to agree to Oklahoma law and exclusive jurisdiction in Pottawatomie County, Oklahoma, because that is where this business is located. We also had to agree to indemnify them for any actions in the event of a lawsuit. This is a company that we have used in the past. This is just a new agreement, but we want to continue to use them, but they won't change their terms of service. So in order for administration to enter into this contract, Tribal Council has to grant a limited waiver to the extent that the contract requires it.
Yes, Councilor Baker.
Yes. What would be you said as the contract requires, what would be the maximum that we would be liable?
I mean, usually it's the extent of the contract unless there are some type of punitive damages or something like that. There's nothing specifically in the contract that would allow governed by the state of Oklahoma law. It would be under Oklahoma law and Pottawatomie County Court, and if Oklahoma law happened to provide for punitive damages or attorney's fees or something like that in a contract dispute, then we would be subject to that. We don't anticipate any, this is a software system that we log. Oftentimes, we can negotiate these provisions out of contracts, or we will choose to go with other companies that will agree to negotiate them out, but this is kind of a very niche market, and it's a company that Education's used in the past and wants to continue to use, but they were somewhat stubborn, as software companies often are, because they have these very long agreements that they spend lots of money getting lawyers to develop, and they're not willing to go in and make piecemeal changes to the contracts.
Okay, thank you.
You good? When I saw this, to waive sovereign immunity, I never take that very lightly. I would look for an option B. We probably need to do this because of time frame. But for $3,500, in the future, we draw up the contract. The question always comes down, do they need us more or we need them?
Well, unfortunately, in this case, I think it's that we need them more than they need us.
To waive our sovereign immunity, though, that is really, we can't have people come in, we can't have companies and corporations dictating to us how we do business. And I could understand if we're going to do a line of credit for $50 million with the bank. Yes, waive that sovereign immunity. But for $3,500, it just kind of, to me, that's kind of petty. But
And oftentimes we will say, no, thank you. We're going to go find this other company out here that's agreeing to negotiate with us. That does this, but I believe it costs more, and this is the Education Department. They've used this before. Issues with the state and how we report to them with the accounting for the charter school anyway. So it's one of those things that we're trying to,
Sure.
go forward with as little change as possible.
okay, we'll let them slide this time. Councilor Wogstead.
$3,500 isn't very much, and that's a feasible amount of money to do the data upload into the OCAS system. My problem is similar to what Speaker Burge is waiving our sovereign immunity over $3,500. We have a charter school that's underfunded as it is. We get rough charter school, which is severely underfunded, and when you waive your sovereign immunity, you're subject to be sued. And the freedom, if we want to pray over at the charter school without a irate parent having a lawsuit about violating church and state.
Let me clarify. It's a waiver of sovereign immunity as to the infliction. That's a waiver, calling it consent to sue. What we're saying is, for this contract with this company, if we breach this contract, we're agreeing to allow them to sue us in state court for breach of contract. Not that any outside person can come in and sue us, and it's only as to this contract.
I'm not an attorney, and I don't understand. I do understand waiving your sovereign immunity, but does it do it just for that one area?
It's for this, because if we did not agree and we breached a contract, they would attempt to sue us in state court, and we would say, no, we're sovereign, you can't sue us without our permission, we have not given you permission to sue, suit's dismissed. They say to us, we are not going to contract with you. And this is an example, I think it's the only one this time, but we do these fairly often. But they say, we are not going to contract with you unless you agree to allow us to sue you if you breach this contract. But it is only to this company and this contract. So if we don't pay them, they can sue us.
Is there an alternative solution to this, maybe going through CMB, since they've already waived their sovereign immunity, have them pick up this cost, this $3,500 contract?
Well, one of the ways that we do this, CMB has a certain level that the tribal council has delegated authority to the chief for certain contracts that they can waive to the extent that they're allowed to sue under a contract. I don't know if this is the answer you want to hear, but a solution would be, software agreements are a big one. We get these all the time because they're 45-page contracts and they have all of these technical terms in them to change them. So a solution would be for tribal council to say, Chief Baker has the authority, if the contract amount is less than whatever number you want, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, and that we would go to arbitration, then Chief can sign those without bringing every one of them to council, as long as they fit within these parameters. And we're opening up that anyone can sue us. It's if we breach this contract, not paying them or releasing confidential information or something like that, that under this contract they could sue us.
Okay.
But But in this situation,
That sounds better. I mean, now that you clarified it.
we've kind of, it's always kind of been tossed around, and our office would be happy to kind of do a little background information on that and get a draft going, and even, you know, meet with you all if you had input on that. But that's what it is. It's just their language in these contracts that courts have said, if you agree to this, this is a waiver of sovereign immunity. And the Cherokee Nation law says that only tribal council can waive sovereign immunity. So if this language, such as agreeing to Pottawatomie County jurisdiction, is in a contract and they won't take it out, or even if it's a $10 contract, the only way that the nation can sign it is if we bring it before tribal council. And so sometimes these things that come up over and over again and they're pretty minor issues end up taking up a lot of our time and energy when, you know, to my knowledge on these types of things, we've never not waived sovereign immunity for the purpose of entering these contracts.
We good?
Yep.
All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
2 nays.
Sorry for.
You good? All right, next we've got Counselor Crittenden. You're up.
Okay.
Is Marcia Lamb or Barbara Foreman here?
Let me find this.
What this says.
Oh, if I got it.
Paper's good sometimes.
Yeah. All right. This was fairly easy for me to bring up here. As everyone knows here, we are driven by those phone calls we get, and there's no one here at this table. I don't think you're dreaming up things to go up and write stuff like this about. I know I'm not, and I know you're not. It's just out of pure necessity that I bring this up. In Stillwell, we have a full-time lady advocate when they have an emergency with their rent, water, all the things that the good human service department serves. Great department. There's one full-time person there. And, you know, Fridays, she's not there, and a lot of Fridays, there's no one there. Maybe a receptionist. I've had a whole lot of time to think about this. I've visited with Secretary and Chief several times about this, and mentioned it to Marcia. Just kind of not taking away anything from that group of folks. I feel like I went through the proper channels. There is a need for an advocate, another full-time advocate in Stillwell, Oklahoma, that happens to be their county. And that is where I came up with this, about the different phone calls I get, the different situations where if we would have had another full-time one, it would give people some stress, you know, just it would have made life a whole lot. We have been rotating some in. Those ladies, I know a few, a lot of cases to no fault of theirs, that rotation has led me on many a paper chase. Well, I spoke to so-and-so. Well, go down there and talk to them again. Well, they're not in the office today. They're in another office. I've had some folks get the wrong information from maybe someone who answers the phone that sends one of my elders back to be it Greasy, Bell, Westfield. And, you know, I was talking this morning, thank the good Lord I'm not in a position right now where $10 or $15 in gas money. Again, thank the Lord that that's not a big issue for me right now. But it's a big issue when those people get back to their place and I call again and say, all they need is there's a lady there that I feel is pretty swamped. I don't put her on that spot. I never say, come with me and tell. But I've had people that just notice it, that she needs some full-time help, where our constituents, they know who they're going to, they know who they're going to be dealing with, they know where their paperwork is at. And again, these guys will tell you, I've been harping about this for as long as it took me to notice the problem. And I'm sure there's someone that would like to maybe give a different point of view, but I, with confidence, am asking you to accept this thing here for no other reason than it will help my Stillwell folks in their greatest time of need. You don't just go to Human Services to play Pac-Man or to get you something to eat. You go there when you're down and out, rent, water, electricity. I have a lot of respect for that department, Marcia, that crew. But I guess it just takes sitting right there watching that door to know that there is a need for this. And I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you feel the need that you need another one too, I'll go right along with you. But I'm going to ask you to go with me on this. Go ahead and read this out and see if I can garnish some votes here.
Make a motion.
Sure, go ahead and make the motion.
All right, this is a resolution to a position for Cherokee Nation Human Services in Stillwell, an advocate that can take care of my people. They don't read just like that. But I put that in the form of a motion.
Discussion? Councilor Vasquez.
Yes, I'm troubled. Does the constitutionality of this kind of legislation?
Councilperson, no one can appreciate more. I am one. South Adair County, South Greasy, to be specific. If this legislation were, there are significant. The Cherokee Nation Constitution, Article 5, has a distribution of powers doctrine. No branch will exercise the powers of the other. It's Article 5. Article 6 deals with the powers of the primary focus is to pass legislation and for the good of the Cherokee people, and to pass an annual budget based on estimated expenditures. Article 7 is the executive, who charges the Cherokee Nation. In the simplest forms, council passes the laws, the executive branch the law, and if there's a dispute, then the judicial branch interprets the law. Okay. So, when you have a piece of legislation that calls for to hire a particular type of employee for a particular task, for a particular county, at a particular salary, that is crossing the line, in my opinion, of the distribution of powers, the separation of powers doctrine. And I've been asked, so it is not obviously a formal opinion. There's been no action taken on this. But if it were to go forward, we would look into it even further. But I'm telling you that that as I have looked at this, this piece of legislation would not pass constitutional muster.
Let me just, I understand that.
Councilor Critton, can I have you had this discussion with the executive director, Marcia, and they were not willing to look at a position like this? Because if I need a position in my district or the county, whether it's in Marcia's Human Services or Diane Kelly's, I will go to the executive director and I'll say, how come you don't put a position that's much needed, and here are the numbers to back it up and put it in our budget process? That's how it's usually handled in years past, but I didn't know, what kind of response did you get when you went to these executive directors?
Well, I probably can't count the times that I visited with Chuck Jr., Chief, and Marcia and mentioned this. I in no way want to step on Marcia's toes. I think she does a great job. But let me just say that I've learned a word I didn't use a whole lot at Peavine, but I done my diligence on trying to go away.
Okay.
And I expected this today. I expected some backlash. But I spoke to some folks. There's still not another one down there. So I thought I'd lay it out here. But, you know, we can't hire and fire. I mean, I understand that, right?
That's one of the things
Right.
you can do.
And also, you know, maybe I got, you know, we get people brought before us all the time that, you know, that make money, and, you know, there's either a yay or nay, you know, be it boards and different things, and I'm sure there's a good explanation. So maybe that was my miscalculation, but I don't regret bringing this forward because it's a need. If we have to find that little loophole that so many others seem to be able to find on different things, I'm ready to do that. But I don't regret bringing it, because there's some people in Adair County that have not been served to the best of our ability, and another advocate, no matter if it's where it fits in that law book, whatever we have to do, it's needed in Stillwell, Oklahoma. And, you know, I kind of feel in the minority here right now, but there's a whole lot of people that agree with me down there. And so whatever we need to do legally, we need another position down there. And those Adair County folks, they're looking around for people to come and on issues like this, on issues like C&I, on issues like truancy. There's, you know, we've had meetings, employees, different places in town, food distribution, we've had meetings. All of those are great things, but they're looking for somebody to come up and get something like this going, because it's a need. So I'm sure I'm gonna put that out. I'm not gonna put anybody else on the spot to vote on that. That's putting you on the spot. But I stand by my motion and look forward to some of the many lawyers we have getting with me and figuring out a way. And so, like I said, I don't want to put no one else here on the spot.
I don't think you are. I think the point is well taken, that, you know, there's a need there, or you wouldn't be here advocating for your district. So I think that point is well taken, and I appreciate that, because you're fighting for your people. Your people back home are asking you to do this, and all you're asking is find a way to do this legally. You know, however way it is, and that's fair enough. So yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a good proposal. Councilor Warner.
Yes, sir. In honor of peacemaking, you know, I mean, we can all. It's easy to be a peacekeeper. I can agree with Sean, because I respect this man for what he stands for and what his heart is for.
Mm-hmm.
I respect Miss Marcia Lamb for what her heart is and what she does. I respect this administration. And I think that Counselor Crittenden has brought up a good deal, and you know, just me taking a few notes and knowing a little bit of both sides and knowing some of the needs that I see. I mean, I know what we've got in Sequoia County and the people, but he mentioned something that it rings true with me, and that's that $15 for that gas. And you know, and some of these people, there's a need for, and I know in the past we've had the advocate that goes and does the house visits, you know, and I'd like to offer, you know, and just coming together, you know, something. I mean, is it that far that we can't come together and find some sort of way to bridge that gap between, because I've got the same issues in my county as what Councilor Crittenden does and some of the others. And I know, you know, out of respect of the Constitution that we all stood up and took an oath for and to stand for the Cherokee people, I think, you know, he's brought this forward, and I have no doubt that the administration hears. I have no doubt that Ms. Lamb hears what's being said. But, you know, it comes time to be a peacemaker. You know, I don't take that lightly, but that's a tough job to do. You know, and when I start thinking about the things, you know, I've got these elders in NICA. They ring. I've been talking to them a lot here lately, and they need a visitor. There's some issues. They need somebody to come there, and you know, the good Lord knows what we're dealing with, and we all have our own little things there. And I don't want to step on Sean's toes. I don't want to step on Miss Lamb's toes. I don't want to step on the administration's toes. I'm just saying, there's got to be something somewhere that we can meet, folks. The bottom line, the people. I don't think that it's supposed to be able today. Should we vote on it, we can take back, and we can give some serious consideration. And I know since the beginning, because me and this man's had many a talk about this very thing right here. So you know, don't take it that I'm not for it, because I believe in what you're doing. And I believe in what the Human Services knows. And I'd like to also hear, you know, what Ms. Lamb has to say about these positions. I mean, I think we all have to take that in account. In order to be a true peacemaker, you got to have every side of the coin addressed. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Thornton.
I can relate to both sides here. But when it gets down to, actually, if the administration come over here and started telling us what to do, whether it be put another council person on or hire another person in here, you know, I'm going to raise hell about it. And so I think there's been one or two good suggestions. I don't have very long to go. But in some of the poorest people that you can have. I know Marble City runs right around 90% low income. And not only them, but NICA, several places around it. But I have people that need $15, $20. I'm not beyond digging in my pocket and handing it to them. And if they need $50, $65 for electric bill, I haven't had much problems with our people as far as getting gas money for our people when I contact Marcia, because, you know, there's always a way you got to do it. You got to follow procedures. And if you don't want to fill out the paperwork, then you might as well forget about trying to get what you're trying to get. And I don't know if it's federal money or not that we're taking that $15 out, but I'd figure it is 20 or what they need. And I don't figure it's discretionary funding, in other words. I'm figuring it is discretionary funding. But if they have a pot of money up there that they can dip into and help people out, you know, that's a wonderful thing. And evidently we do have. And why they're not doing it, that's what I would want to know. And, but anyway, as far as this is concerned, not because of you or anybody else on here, I can't vote for it. And it's simply because it goes against the Constitution. And that man sitting right there probably knows more about the Constitution because he's been on our side, their side, and everybody's side. And that's Todd Henry. So what I really mean to tell you is I can't be for this as it is. If you can figure out another way to go into it and get it done, that'd be fine with me. But it shouldn't come to this.
Yeah. Secretary, you got any recommendations?
Well, I did want to acknowledge that the councilman's right. He did do his due diligence in meeting and visiting with Marcia, visiting with the administration. I know, I do want to say that there aren't two sides here when it comes to whether we help the people or not with our human services program. There's one side, and that we all want to help the people and maximize that help with the budget that we have. The other thing that I think is a proposition that I've not heard anyone ever disagree with is that we have supreme confidence in Marcia Land, who under Chief Baker's administration has taken that department and has exponentially increased the number of people that we've helped and the amount that we've helped with. So we are helping more than ever. But I understand, I was a councilman, and I understand there's concerns when you have, and you see things in your districts like Marcia Lamb is such that we ask her to look at the numbers, ask her to look at the budget, look at all the offices, and look at the caseload, and she's made of staff. The result of that over her tenure has been very good performance, and so that's why she's here. She certainly can speak better than I can to some of the details if council would like to discuss it. But I think the general proposition is that we're sort of all on the same side here. Not sort of, we all are on the same side.
Sure. You're trying to better the lives of all of our people here. Walking stick.
I hear what you're saying, Sean. I think this isn't probably the right avenue to go about doing this. Your point was heard. Council Warner, I appreciate you bridging the gap, being a peacemaker, lets us all work together because the people are the winners at the end. I want to hear a solution. There's been an issue brought up. Marcia, you do a great job. Everyone echoed that. I have not heard a solution. There's a need. What's the solution?
Well, as to the legal
aspect. But Marcia's needs to be one to address this. And probably Secretary of State.
I'll gladly step in.
I'm sorry, what was the question? I thought you was talking to him.
No, but what's a solution to help out Councilman Crittenden and Warner in their respective districts on their folks, talking about a home advocate for elders, or an elder advocate per se. We have budget hearings coming up here, and it sounds like these guys address a need. What is the solution? What does that look like in your mind? Is what they're trying to do?
Well, if I had my wish, I'd put another advocate in 14 counties. If you're asking me what I would do, what I can do according to the budget and the need, that's where that always plays a factor in it. We look at all kinds of things when we hire somebody. We look at whether or not we can afford it first. Then we look at, okay, where's the need? Where do we need the most places? Look at it. But I agree with Sean. I started in Adair County. I know what he's talking about. But I also come from Cherokee County, and I also know there's a need there. I also know there's a need in other counties. And I don't have an answer here. All I can tell you is that if you call me and I can free somebody up, because I'm not going to send somebody out when I have people sitting out there in the hallway, if I'll send them out. And staff that I have. We have more advocates, and they're what we call floaters. And Sean's area, that's what we're talking about. So Sean's area, there's staff there 4 days a week, just like everybody else. There's two advocates there every day. And on Fridays, we have intakes there. And they are trained to take burial applications because we don't want someone not to be served right on the spot because of the predicament that they are in. Are they called the advocate or me or their supervisor if there's an emergency? So I can't tell you how many times that I've pulled people out of meetings and sent them on a home visit if it's a need. If it's a need.
I like to make a recommendation that, Sean, I think legally the best thing for us to do is wait till the budget cycle and have us all meet up, and we'll all agree, if we do agree, to put some extra elder advocates into that budget cycle.
Thank you.
I think that's, and Marcia, appreciate your words. Thanks, Speaker.
Yes, I get Councilor Hargis, then back to you.
I just, I want to say, I, in the past, have visited with Marcia about, additional help there, and she did. Like she said, there's two advocates, and then on Friday, the intake. She's done what she can do. I worked in that office, not with the Human Services, but on the Career Services side, so I know that they don't have a heavy flow every day. The heavy flow usually comes the day before and the day of utility cutoffs.
Yes, that's
So,
correct.
maybe something we could do is find out those days, identify those days, and have one of the floaters there to help them out. That may be a compromise that we could come to.
Good idea.
Okay, yes, Councilor Creighton.
Marcia, you got to know that we're always respectful, and we got a good relationship. And I think a whole lot of you, and you do a great job. You agree, right?
Yes, thank you.
Well, I hope so, because I think a lot of you. This is stemming. Our times, our times are kind of different because there's lots of times other than Friday that there's not, but there's no need to debate that here. I hope that it was heard, and I believe it was. And if some of you guys don't have this going on in your districts, I agree with Mr. Thornton. If it's not a big thing in his district, he's probably got other things to squawk about. But it is in my district, and that's why I brought it to the table. I tried the budget thing. I remember I was sitting at a funeral, and the last ditch effort, hey, did that get put in the budget? I mean, a simple no. So I tried that avenue, and I'll sure be ready to do it again.
Do it again.
And
We'll help you out.
but I thank everybody for listening. And again, I am fully confident and do not regret bringing this to the table, because I wouldn't have brought it in the first place if there wasn't a need for my people. So look forward to digging in however we can. Didn't mean to put nobody on the spot. If I knew I took a chance on going against the different ways to go about it, but I'll deal with that. I'll deal with that. I probably one day I'm going to cross the line for my people. Probably will for my people. But I'll never ask you all to go with me. So I'll look forward to it. Thank you, and we can move on as far as I'm concerned.
Would you like to withdraw?
I'll withdraw that. But
you were heard.
I don't withdraw the need.
Yes.
I'll withdraw putting you guys on the spot.
Okay.
Thank you, Counselor.
All right, thank you, Councilor Creighton. Councilor Thornton.
I never said it wasn't a big deal.
No, you didn't say a big
showed
deal.
you right here.
It was
And it's dealing with the same exact
had an issue.
I said it wasn't if I couldn't
I
go
think
in.
it's- I
Only
think it's
different
a-
is when I can't go in.
I think
I respect
councilors-
what you do for.
Hey, councilors,
respect what
I
you
think
do for
it's
your
a
folks.
big deal anytime we are trying to improve the lives of the Cherokees. Thank you, Marcia. We'll move down to the next one. Councilor Vasquez, you're up. I don't want to get into Councilor Taylor's
A legislative
time
act
here.
amending the guardianship code. And I put that in the form of a motion.
The legislative act amending the guardianship code. Motion, second, discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it.
By
Okay.
acclamation.
By acclamation?
Yes.
It's an act.
Okay. All right, Council,
This is an act relating to a technical community code. Again, I put that in the form.
question? Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, thank
By
you.
acclamation.
By acclamation. Wow, Victoria, you're just going down the line here. You got the next one.
An act relating to amendments to the Cherokee Nation Child Support Guidelines. Put that in the form of a motion.
Motion second. Councilor Baker?
By
By acclamation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Councilor Baker, take the next one.
Okay, this is an act related to expansion of the jurisdiction of the district court to the Cherokee Nation. And I make a motion that it be approved.
Motion for approval. Second.
By acclamation.
Favor by acclamation, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Councilor Hargis.
I'm going to table this till next month.
Okay, got a motion to table. Okay, motion, second table. Okay. Now, back to, was that 13? Number 11? Okay, back to this is the guidelines for district community meetings and mail-out expenses using Cherokee Nation funds. Councilor Anglin, you want to start that?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. My proposal would be that we leave the language in paragraph 4 exactly like it was, because of the way our elections are held. They're scattered all over in the middle of in the middle of a chief's election. There's elections in between. So I would like to leave it like it was intended to be back when the Attorney General drafted. He was our attorney back then. Drafted this up and strike, get rid of this red, the part that's red in here, and just leave it exactly like it was.
Okay.
Because I just don't believe that would interfere with anybody's election, you know. If somebody's caught campaigning, maybe we can get pictures of them or something and bring them back and tar and feather them here or whatever. But I think we're all smart enough to know we can't campaign, and this wouldn't be, you wouldn't get to use this if you was in a campaign.
Sure. But we should be by now.
Yeah. So I think
this is a kind of a unique time where we're not having any elections in the northern part, the northwestern part, so I see where you're coming from. Anybody else?
So I make a motion that we strike this language. Second the
Got a motion and a second. Discussion. Councilor Warner.
Yes, sir. You know, I'm all for having a community meeting. I love them. My one question is, what do you do when in election year when you're electing a chief and a deputy chief?
Nobody can have
No, not all over.
That's true.
Okay. So then everybody's talking about the fairness and, you know, and I don't care. I mean, you want to have one, you can have one. I think it's a great thing for the citizens.
Sure.
But you start looking at it as, well then, you know, I can have it now, but you know, I mean, I don't know. It just, does that not muddy it up a little bit more?
It will when the Chiefs race comes along.
Right, so that just shut it down for every district. So now this time around though, I'll get to have one. But over in District 5, they can't because they're up for election.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then the next time around, everybody's shut down. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
I mean, hey, y'all want to be for it then, you know, because I'll get one in on the rotation, but the others that are out won't. That's just one thing. I mean, I'm indifferent. I just put it that. I just wanted to throw that out there, not to, you know. I mean, it's it's there.
Well, I
So,
think when we drafted this, can I?
yeah,
I think when we drafted this up, if I remember right, this is strictly our council. This has nothing
It's
to do with the
nothing to do with-
administration.
okay.
So if a
Yeah,
chief,
okay.
chief wants to
That-
show up, you know, that's.
That clarifies
that's
it for me.
fine, you know, to me, because I think it's just, these are all.
Yes, Counselor Thornton.
Yes, I think if you sit right here and read, I guess it's Article 5, Section 5, whatever it is, I think you'll see that you can't have any electioneering or campaigning during any meeting that you have.
Right.
So why have it? You know, that's what I ask. We've got, what? We've got a marshal service over here. There's no reason we can't have a marshal at every community meeting. I think they have marshals at large, I'm not for sure. I seem like I have seen one in California. But anyway, there's no reason we can't have a community meeting any month, any time till we run out of money. And that's the way I look at it. If you come into that community meeting to campaign, then your butt needs to go out the door. And it's that simple. And it don't make any difference whether it's an election year or not an election year. Because only ones that can control that are the people sitting right here at this table. Ain't anybody else control it except you.
Counselor Hatfield.
Thank you.
Okay, like, when you attend an at-large meeting, which, okay, doesn't it, or any meeting, doesn't it just depend on what if you're passing out voting paraphernalia, you know, or is it just how you speak, what you say, if you're, you know, discussing, you know, maybe your position, or I need your vote, or want your vote, or will you vote for me, or isn't it a matter, I mean, because I think that we're entitled to be anywhere we want to be, as, you know, and we all know these are elected positions, and there's always going to be politics, or politics spoken at all meetings. You know, like if you, but here's the thing, if you, just at the at-large meetings, and I'm going to make a point, if we've had several regular tribal council people, just regular, I say regular, 15, it's phenomenal. You know, it's phenomenal. People would like to see you there. But I think isn't it just a matter of maybe what your presence there. Number one, I think it's positive, but is it basically what you're doing there, like how you speak, who you're speaking to, and what you say? You know, you understand what I'm saying? Like,
Well, there shouldn't be no campaign if you're using Cherokee
that's
Nation
what I'm
funds.
saying,
That's the
but-
bottom line.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
But
But he should not prevent us from having community meetings.
Yes, but I mean, shouldn't you be able to? I mean, to attend the meetings? I mean, is that? And not campaign.
Cherokees don't
Is that-
campaign.
Is that? I don't
Counselor
think I've-
Garvin.
I think I've lost, I don't think I made any sense.
I think we're good. I think we all understand. Everyone took an oath, you know, if you violate the rule, you shouldn't be reimbursed for that. Should come out of your own pocket. You know, campaign as much as you want, just spend your own money. Okay, if you want to use tribes money, don't campaign. It's kind of simple, really. We made it, a little bit more difficult than what it really is.
Okay.
Yeah, Counselor Garvin.
I think I've made most of the rules meetings over the years, and I'm wondering where this red print came from, where, when, and who voted on it. That's the question. Anyone? David, you've been out, you remember changing it? Do you?
The last sentence.
Just recently or a long
No,
time?
it hadn't
No,
been
it's
voted
been-
on. It's
It's
just
been a while
your
back.
suggestion.
Been a while back.
Yeah.
Probably before my
I
school.
think it was
life.
last term. It was last term when it changed.
Shelley
Yeah.
said we don't have any records on that.
Yeah, there is.
The current policy is black, what's stricken out. The red is the new proposed language.
proposed?
What's black that's struck through is the current policy. The red.
So we're good.
We don't need to vote on it, it's already
Yeah,
out there.
we just keep what we have.
We just need to eliminate this one with the red, right?
We don't even need to eliminate because the current policy is without the red.
We would have to change that date because of the changes in the election dates.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
That's in the red.
it's in red. Hey,
Put
Speaker,
that date in.
What day you talking?
Because of the change in the election dates, we would need to change that date to the December 16th.
Is that the only change?
If you want to keep the rest of it, yeah, but we would need to change that date just
Okay.
because of the change
I
in
think
the
everybody
election.
knows that day.
Hey,
Yes.
my thing is like if for some reason that Jack wasn't, this is all hypothetical, Jack wasn't turned out and he had and there was election summer coming up and there's a bunch of people wanting to run for his seat, but all the council was frozen where we couldn't have meetings, but he wasn't campaigning, but he was handing out, gift cards and being up saying, you got other at-large people that's in the audience, and Jack's up on the grandstand. He's got the mic and people seeing him, his name's out there, and I think that's it's a unfair, it's a disadvantage to the other people that's running in the at-large seat, and I would like to something where it's only, but we have the administration have this. We do as a tribal council, and I only say that because the
Let's
outlaw.
take what we have in front of us.
Got a motion on the floor.
Yes. Got a
Okay.
motion and for the date.
Just the date.
Just the date. We changed in December 16 to what? Date. Change.
Just a
That'd be it.
friendly-
Yeah, just to add the date.
Yeah.
Erase the red.
We don't. Yes.
Put a order on that, that it should say December 16th prior to any election year.
Prior to any election year?
Because this is December 16th of the election year. That would mean December 16th.
6 months later.
Yeah. So December 16th prior to an election year.
Okay, is that good, Councilor England?
Yes,
Okay.
I accept that, Jack.
All right, everybody good? Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
One nay. Okay. All right. Councilor Taylor, you're going to have some time.
Jack is
So
ready.
anyway, any announcements?
Jack is glad you turned out.
Thank you, council members. You did a good job.